Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're looking at some really interesting research today, excerpts from the influence of mental set on problem solving.
That's right. It tackles something we probably all experience.
Exactly. Like, when you're facing a problem and you keep trying the same thing because it worked before, but now you're just hitting a wall.
Mm-hmm. That's the core idea.
So our mission today is to unpack these mental sets, these default approaches, and understand how they can sometimes, well, trap us, especially when past success makes us rigid.
Yeah, how our own helpful shortcuts can actually hinder us from finding maybe better or simpler solutions.
Okay, so let's define this properly. What exactly is a mental set based on this research?
Think of it as a framework or maybe a specific strategy that your mind automatically reaches for when you encounter a certain type of problem.
Because it's worked in the past?
Precisely. It's efficient most of the time. But the research points out this can lead to what they call mental rigidity. You get stuck.
Stuck on that one successful strategy.
Yeah, and you miss other potentially more creative or even easier ways forward.
The research uses a classic example, right?
Yeah.
The Lugins water jar problem. Can you walk us
Yeah,
through that quickly?
sure. So participants get these problems where they have, say, three jars, different sizes, and they need to measure out a specific amount of water.
Okay.
The first few problems always get solved using the same kind of complicated sequence of pouring. B minus A minus 2C, something like that.
Right, so people learn this formula.
They do. They get good at it. They get into a rhythm. Then Lucian's throws in problems where you could still use that complicated formula.
But there's a simpler way.
Exactly. A much simply more direct method exists, but people are so set in that initial way, they completely miss the shortcut. They're caught in that mental set.
That's fascinating. It's like using elaborate software for a task a simple calculator could do, just because you learn the software first.
It's a great analogy, and you can see how that directly impacts creativity, right?
Definitely. If you're always reaching for the familiar tool.
You're not looking for new tools or new ways to use the tools you have. Innovation often comes from that novel perspective, seeing connections others miss.
So you're basically limiting your own thinking.
You are. Your past success becomes a cage, in a way.
What's going on in the brain then? Why do we form these mental ruts so easily? Is it just laziness?
Huh. Not exactly laziness. It's more about efficiency. Our brains are amazing pattern detectors.
Okay.
When a strategy works, the brain strengthens those neural pathways. It makes it quicker, easier, less effortful to use that same strategy next time.
Which is normally good.
Usually, yes. But it becomes a cognitive bias when the situation changes, and that efficient pathway leads you down the wrong road. We default to the pattern.
Okay, so we understand the trap. How do we get out? What can we actually do if we feel stuck in a mental set at work or maybe while learning something new?
Well, awareness is the huge first step. Just knowing this happens. Actively pause and ask yourself, is this the only way or just the way I always do it?
Question your assumptions.
Yes. And deliberately brainstorm alternatives, even if they seem silly at first. Try looking at the problem from a totally different angle. Reframe it.
Like pretending you're explaining it to a child, maybe?
That can work. Or sometimes, honestly, just stepping away helps. Take a break, do something else, let your mind reset a bit, come back with fresh eyes.
The research also mentions functional fixedness. How does that fit in?
It's very related. Functional fixedness is like a specific type of mental set focused on objects.
Objects.
Yeah, it's the difficulty in seeing an object used for anything other than its most common intended purpose. You know, the classic example is needing a weight and having a wrench on the table, but only seeing the wrench as something for turning bolts, not as a potential paperweight.
Okay, so you're fixed on its function.
Exactly. You can't see its other properties or potential uses in that moment. It's another way our thinking gets constrained.
So if mental set and functional fixedness represent being stuck, what's the ideal state? The opposite.
That would be cognitive flexibility. It's really the antidote. Meaning the ability to switch your thinking style, to adapt when things change, to consider different perspectives easily. It's about having a versatile mental toolkit, not just one hammer.
And it seems like our mental state, like stress or tiredness, can make things worse, make us lean more on those old sets.
Absolutely. When you're stressed or fatigued, your brain conserves energy. Thinking flexibly, exploring new paths, that takes effort.
Right.
So under pressure, we often revert to the most familiar, well-worn mental paths, even if they aren't the best fit anymore. It feels safer, easier.
Which is counterproductive when you really need a good solution under pressure.
Precisely.
Can we actually get better at this? Can education or maybe even therapy help us recognize and break these sets.
Oh, definitely. Things like creative problem-solving training, exercises that force you to think differently, like brainstorming unusual uses for a brick, can build that cognitive flexibility muscle.
So practice helps.
It does. And therapy can certainly help individuals become more aware of their own specific patterns and develop personal strategies to challenge rigid thinking. It's about consciously practicing that mental shifting.
Okay, so wrapping this up, the main takeaway seems to be experience is good, but don't let it become a blindfold.
Exactly. Be aware of your go-to mental sets. That awareness is key.
Recognizing the pattern lets you choose whether to follow it or deliberately try something new. It opens the door to more flexible, more innovative thinking.
Well put. It allows you to escape the trap and potentially find much better solutions.
So here's something for you to think about. Consider a challenge you faced recently. Was there a point where you felt stuck? Could a mental set have been limiting your approach? And knowing this now, what might you try differently next time? That's your food for thought. Thanks for tuning in to The Deep Dive.